Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Apex Racing TV and Apex Racing League have hosted some fantastic series in 2023, but our last to conclude is set to have one of the best finishes all year. 4 drivers head into the final round of Apex Racing Academy Super Formula with a chance at the Pro title, whilst 3 go into the AMs, still hoping to get some glory in our inaugural season in the SF23. Welcome to Apex Racing TV. Welcome to the Apex Racing Academy Super Formula. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Avery McDonald with Samuli Kume bringing you this stream on our YouTube channel. And we have got a fantastic end to the championship. After 10 rounds of the series, there's barely anything to split our championship protagonists. And it is pretty much a case of winner takes all in both our Pro and our AM title races tonight here at Fuji. Avery, it's been a fantastic season just for the racing, but I think the competitiveness this season has been fantastic. Sure, we haven't necessarily had the most amount of drivers, but I think it just demonstrates even more how lucky we are to have such a competitive field, because we go into this final round with still 7 drivers thinking they could win a title, and none of them being confident that they're going to be able to get over the line.
Yeah, when you look at starting up a new season, you take a look at the point standings here. LaFaro and Alicon, they got to win if they want to win. I mean, if they win, they win the championship. And you got Rosenkrantz and Schnabel. If they win, they need Alicon or LaFaro to finish 3rd or worse. But I tell you what, Sam, get your popcorn ready, grab something to drink, because I tell you what, you ain't gonna see anything closer like this, in a while. After this is the 11th round, and we have separated by 2 points. But then you think that's close? If we take a look at the amateur standings, Sam, it is, I tell you what, man, it's tied at the top with Fabio Grassetto and Edward Pop with 383 points. They got to beat each other if they want to win the championship. So, I mean, Sam, this is as tight as you're going to get in any series, and we're just so thankful that we're bringing it to you live on Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, I am a massive fan of the Amateur Championship because it is as simple as whoever wins out of Grassetto on Pop wins the championship. Literally whoever finishes higher up. However, don't rule out Cesar Cal. If Cal can have a really good round tonight, and I'm talking top 5 overall, then he might be able to get himself in play. 20 points is catchable but obviously with the point system, it gets shallower as the points goes down, so it's trickier for the AMs to make up points compared to the pros. Dean Vela as well technically has a chance at the title, but I think a bit of a long shot there. Let's have a look at the teams championship as well, actually, because that one's all wrapped up. We're not going to be talking about this one a whole lot. It's been a good second half of the season for Alcantech NHL, and whilst Core were right in there at the start of the season, Palich and Winkler haven't quite been able to put the pressure on. So Alcantech have got one championship in the bag, but one of their drivers, Lennart Schnabel, will do well to add the driver's title to their roster as well.
Yeah, big shout out to Alcantech for having a big, strong end of the season. But, just thinking about this, Sam, you take a Super Formula car, which is a Japanese-based series, and you finish it off at Fuji. I mean, you can't get much better than that. I mean, this is a phenomenal track. I've been driving it most of this morning just to kind of get a feel on, how this track's gonna work. And I just noticed the front half of the track, you got a nice tight corner in turn 1. Coca-Cola corner is super fun, but I think the biggest part you need to be good at is the last sector through 10 and 16. If your car ain't rotating and motivating, you're not going to be getting anywhere. So keep a big eye on that last sector of the track, because that's going to be super important for some good passing.
That it divides opinion. Does the final sector one way more than the other? I must say, it's not like it used to be. It's very different to how it used to be. It used to be an incredible turn 1. Imagine Daytona turn 1, but a right-hander used to be turn 1 here. And then you just went left and right and fast sweeping corners, very long radius corners. Absolute speed drone this place used to be. It's still rapid. You still got the mile-long pit straight, but it is quite different to how it used to be. Let's look at how the drivers can do in this qualifying session. This man has been in red-hot form. He's won 3 of the past 4 races, but the reason why he's not in second place going into this round of the championship is because he got a penalty last time out for a collision he had with Giuseppe Lofaro. He lost his race win at Red Bull Ring, and so Chris Rosenkrantz, it's out of his hands. He could win tonight and he might still not win the championship, but I must say I think he's still the favourite to take the race victory tonight.
Yeah, he's been super fast, like you said. He's won a handful of races this season, but yeah, he's still not out of it. I mean, if he gets the win and Alicon and Lofaro just have a little rough race, go back a couple positions, make it win the championship, but you got to take last week and you got to forget about it. You got to move on to Fuji, and you got to try to come out and get the win, because if Chris Rosenkrantz can get the win, he's doing all he can do to try to win a championship at this, from this round. So keep an eye on him. We're gonna keep an eye on the whole field. It's a really tight field between the pro and the AM. Carl Winkler so far was the fastest until Lofaro took him over. Schnabel only back to 4th place, but there it is. Chris Rosenkrantz up to the top of the board. Remember, you get one lap to get a good, clean, fast lap, and it looks like Rosenkrantz is going to get it done.
And if his pace is as strong as it has been in previous rounds for Rosenkrantz, he could well be out in the lead and pulling away from the rest. But he needs Lofaro and Alicon to finish 3rd or lower, and Lofaro is up in that 2nd place. Lofaro doing what he needs to do currently in order to take the title. It's a disappointing qualifying for Marcos Alicon, a driver who was just rapidly scoring strong results. I mean, you look at Alicon's results: a 1st place, 2nd place, 5th place, 1st place, 3rd place. But then recently he's had a 5th, a 4th, and an 8th, his worst result of the season, coming last time out at Red Bull Ring after he spun with an incident in the early stages. And so he has got a lot of work to do. He needs to get back up into 2nd place in order to realistically have a good shot at the title. But the session is ticking over, and we are still going to have 44 laps of this Fuji circuit, but it will go by quite quick. This is a fast circuit here at Fuji. Let's have a look at the standings for the final time this season. It's another pole position for Chris Rosenkrantz, up ahead of Giuseppe Lofaro. Carl Winkler with a strong qualifying, up there in 3rd place ahead of Fabio Grassetto, who would take the amateur championship if the results stayed as they are. Then it's Lee Aberdeen, Make Palich, Lennart Schnabel and the man with a lot of overtaking to do, Marcos Alarcon. Edward Pop with some work to do as well in 9th place. Then it's Ben Ford, watch out for him. He's been getting stronger and stronger as the season's gone on. Mark Elliott lines up in 11th place. Then it's Dean Vella and Cesar Cal. Cal really needing a top 5 finish tonight in order to have a chance at the Amateur Championship.
Yeah, great job by Fabio Grassetto, but Alarcon's gonna have to make some moves. Like we said, he needs to beat Lafaro, but it's a long race. There's no reason to really push it too hard, because when you got the pace, you'll be able to make up some moves. You just don't want to see him push it too hard to where he goes off track, maybe causes a wreck. But we're really curious to see how he's going to make some moves up the field, because we know he's fast. He just had a little rough qualifying effort. And then Cabral back in 13th must have had an off track, so his time was invalid. So, and he's always been quick. He's as of late, I think a driver to look for, and don't count him out. I mean, Grassetto starting 4th. Yeah, he's got a good cushion, but it's a long race. You can't afford to make a mistake as we look from high above here at Fuji.
Yeah, really, Grassetto is the favourite going into this round. He has had the edge on Pop for the vast majority of the season. But he still needs to capitalize on it. As we're about to get underway then, for the final time this season, round 11 of Apex Racing Academy Super Formula is underway, and the long run to turn 1 begins. It's a poor start for Carl Winkler from 3rd position. He's going to be eaten up by the rest of the field. Lofari gets away well. He's in 2nd place, and it looks like it's going to be a big dive there from, I think that's Lennart Schnabel, trying to gain some places. It looks like he has been able to do that on a couple of counts. Rosenkrantz still leading the way then. The top 3 making a bit of a break for it. The Alcantech drivers covering the circuit in 4th and 5th. Schnabel making good progress there. As for the lead, there is going to be a change for lead. Giuseppe Lofari now takes the 1st position. It's not too important for the championship, but it's an early setback for Chris Rosenkrantz.
Yeah, Rosenkrantz went off a little bit and just lost the time. And then we did see Cabral make a really aggressive move into turn 1 and had some contact with I wasn't quite sure who that was, just all the cars are going, but we did see that here's a turn 10 through 12 and good moves here. Oh, contact with Alarcon, and I believe that it was Palich that had some contact with Alarcon. Alarcon can't afford contact.
Yeah, he's struggling to even keep his same position where he's up 1 place from his race start because of that poor start for both core sim racing drivers. As here comes Palich, he's back up the inside, and this is absolutely wonderful for Lofari, for Rosenkrantz and for Schnabel to have Alarcon occupied in these early stages, who's already using his overtake. It's rare that you see the overtake used this early on, but I think Alarcon's absolutely correct to do that because he needs these track positions and he needs to get up the road if he can. He's going to defend the inside line. Ben Ford looking to the inside. It's such a wide circuit, and Ford's going to find some space, but he's not going to get the car stopped. He'll run wide, and Alarcon will maintain that 7th place after all.
Great job by Alarcon to realize that Ben Ford was probably going to overshoot it into the turn number 1 and just kind of slip right underneath him. Good move by him. Ben Ford's going to fall back to 9th with the AM drivers behind him, but Fabio Grassetto up to 3rd place, leader of the amateur division. Look out for him. I think he might even be able to give a run for the top 2 positions. But here's a replay looking back of the incident with Rosenkrantz here on the start.
Yeah, I think he spotted it early on. He just ran wide, and once you go over that curb, it's tricky stuff. And I'm surprised he didn't even get a slowdown, but maybe he got off the circuit. Who's that spinning round? That is Lee Aberdeen. And Lee, who came so close to a race victory earlier on in the season back at Nürburgring, he also looked strong in the middle part of the season, has had a tough time of it recently. And I think that may have been a solo mistake there, and it promotes the likes of Winkler and Alarcon up. Schnabel, I think, did he get past Grassetto in all of that as well? So Grassetto's actually run wide, and Aberdeen's been put off and nearly takes out the Italian.
Yeah, it just looked like Grassetto went wide, and Aberdeen's car just got a little bit unsettled, but we move on. So Grassetto back to 4th place, but still sitting in a good spot as he needs to beat Edward Pop, and he's 5 spots ahead of him. So he just has to keep the car on the track. That's the big thing for him. Keep the car on the track and not just overdo it, because when you're sitting in a position where you're in a championship and you're comfortable, you should be, racing kind of calm, but those nerves are always going to get to you when you're running for a championship, as Fabio Grassetto. So he's still sitting good. Carl Winkler going to try to run him down. That core sim racing driver is down 2 spots from where he started, so he's got a lot of pace. We'll just see if he's going to be able to pick it back up.
And a reminder for those maybe just tuning in who aren't aware of the championship situation, as long as Grassetto beats Edward Pop, he is champion. So you can finish in 8th place, that would make no difference. Makes no difference for Grassetto, he just needs to beat Pop in order to win the title. And in the pros, if Lofaro or if Alarcon win the race, then they are guaranteed winning the championship. However, if Rosenkrantz or Schnabel win the race, then they need Lofaro and Alarcon to finish 3rd place or lower. So at the moment, Lofaro would take the title, and with a 1.7 second gap, he is doing more than enough. However, Marcus Alarcon, just with the fastest lap of the race, he is making up that time he lost in the early stages whilst he was battling with Make, Palach and Cohen. Look at that, he's already onto the rear of Carl Winkler, who had an awful start from the line, got a lot of wheel spin, and that is why he's down in 5th place. Winkler originally qualified up in 3rd.
Yeah, Alarcon, he's already used part of that overtake. Like we've said, you get 200 seconds of overtake here at Fuji. He's up to 6th place, so he's up 2 spots, but he's got to get around Winkler, and then he's going to have to get around Grassetto. Oh, big wiggle for Carl Winkler out of that corner there. So here's a big run for Alarcon. He's got to make the pass here. If he doesn't make it, it's going to be difficult. Big send by Alarcon, up 3 places. Gets back on it in through the Dunlop corner and makes the overtake. Alarcon up to 5th, and he is coming.
And we have seen on several occasions drivers get stuck behind other drivers. I think Lennart Schnabel's had a couple of times where he's had incidents at the start and then just struggled to make progress once he's been in the top 10 and trying to overtake drivers like Carl Winkler. And so you need to take those opportunities when they arise. It should be a much easier circuit to overtake here, honestly, compared to some of the others we've visited. Due to the long pit straight, the slipstream effect will be very strong, and the advantage of the overtake as well will be very powerful, but it can still be much trickier than how it first appears. It's like I'm losing a little bit of time down the street. You can also see Palach using a bit of his overtake in the background. So I've gone up to 5th place. And remember, if Alarcon beats Lofaro, then he wins the title as it stands. So he needs to gain up 4.8 seconds as Lee Aberdeen on his recovery makes his way past Mark Elliott.
It's going to be hard to catch up to. Lofaro just put down a 1:22.972. So that's the fastest lap of the race, but it wasn't clean. He went off track there as the time doesn't update. If he had a clean lap, it would have been his best, but that's going to be hard to catch. But you see, timing and scoring is about 2 seconds from Rosenkrantz. So Lofaro, it's 1 3/4. So 1.7 seconds is the gap. If I'm Rosenkrantz, I am pushing as hard as I can get to try to close that gap and not race Lofaro dirty, but just put on the pressure to try to force him to make a mistake, because Rosenkrantz knows he's got to get around him if he wants a shot to win the title.
And the good news for Rosenkrantz, I guess, is Ford has just got past Palach, albeit Palach coming back, and might have a bit of a ding-dong battle at the final 6 of those two for the battle for 7th place. The good news for Rosenkrantz is that he has got Schnabel and Grassetto behind him. It's not a case that, like, Alarcon's right there, and Schnabel in particular, but also Grassetto, seems to have good pace tonight, so could get themselves into that 2nd place, which is what Rosenkrantz really needs. So we see Ford get back past Palach, but is Palach going to respond again? No, he's not. Ben Ford, who's been very strong in qualifying this season. I think he took 2nd place on the grid back at Nürburgring. A weak qualifying for Ben Ford tonight, only down in 10th place, but he's starting to demonstrate his class. And I think will be a rival for Winkler. I'm not sure if he'll be able to keep up with the top 5, but I think he'll soon be onto the back of the German.
Speaking of lap times, Chris Rosenkrantz, fastest lap of the day, 1:22.84. So the gap is starting to shrink. But Ben Ford, like you said, him and Winkler could put on a good battle here. But one thing I just see in Cabral has been following back and forth between Aberdeen. So you're just sitting in a spot. It's a really good battle here with Aberdeen, Cabral, and that is Mark Elliott in that the famed red, white, and blue.
Yeah, Elliott's a new driver to the series. It is a very competitive field we have tonight. I think Aberdeen's going to get underneath Cabral. That was very simple for him. We have had the field deplete slightly, but I'd say these are 13 of the best drivers who started the series, honestly, who are enthused about this car and have continued plucking away at it. And of course, out of the 13 drivers, about 7 of them have a shot at a title. So there's plenty of motivation for them to be out there still. Lefo with one of his best performances of the season. Unfortunately, I was away, as here comes Elliott. He's going to be the next to get past Cabral. He's up into 12th place, the American having a very strong run of it at the moment. But yeah, I wasn't around for Zandvoort when I believe Lefo dominated. Lefo with 2 race wins so far this season at Zandvoort, and of course last time out at Red Bull Ring, albeit it wasn't on the road, it was only a post-race penalty, which got him up ahead of Rosenkrantz. So I'm very impressed at the moment. 1.8 seconds ahead, and honestly, the top 2 pulling away quite significantly. Schnabel losing a second on that last lap to the top 2.
Yeah, the last lap for the last 2 laps for Lafaro and Rosenkrantz were the only drivers in the 122 bracket. So you're right, they are pulling away. But here's Marcus Alicon. Alicon is behind Grassetto and Lennart Schnabel, but Alicon cannot afford to keep going. But if you're Grassetto, and he's using the boost right now, overtake right now, I understand you want to get the best place you can get, but you can't afford to wreck here. I mean, you just have to. I know it's hard to say, but stay in line. But he's going to try to make the overtake on Schnabel. Schnabel just lets him go, but Grassetto goes a little bit wide, and Schnabel gets a good run. I don't like the when you're in the situation to win a championship to race super hard. But I mean, that's why I'm in the booth, not in the seat.
No, and you've been witness to me winning several championships, or at least one of my several championships, Avery, you know, when I won the bragging rights event. iRacing's favourite commentator speaking right now. And you know, so I do have experience of this, is what I'm saying. And you have got to think about the percentages, as here comes Alicon, and Grassetto is fighting this one. 2 of our championship contenders, 2 of our championship contenders going into this round, going alongside momentarily. And at least for Alicon, he's being able to break the draft now to the drivers ahead. Grassetto's not going to have the overtake on the pit straight this time around because he used it too recently. Meanwhile, Alicon, you can see by that green light staying on constantly, he has got it available. And now he's using it. That light starting to flash rapidly, and this will be easy for him to pull alongside and get past the Italian.
You got to make the pass here. Otherwise, it's a waste of the overtake. And here comes Alicon, going to get a good run into turn number 1. We'll see if it sticks. He gets around him, but Grassetto's going to make a big dive. Not able to stick it there. That's one way to put yourself in the back of the field. But a big shout out. Rosenkrantz just put the fastest lap in, but Alicon, I'm just really curious to see what he's going to get, Sam, when he gets some clean track. We haven't seen a clean track from him, and he put down a really good lap in traffic, about lap 2 or 3. So if he can get around Schnabel, we'll really see what's going to happen with what that car's capable of.
He's given himself a handicap, has Marcus Alicon. He's given himself a quarter of the race, sorry, or most of it, or 1/5 of the race so far, stuck behind traffic, and that means that he's now some 7.2 seconds off the lead, and he's got to try to recover that. That is going to be very, very tough. And I think his best chance, honestly, is going to be a fight between the top 2 and trying to pick up the pieces from that. And of course, they did collide last time out, did Rosenkrantz and Lefo. When Lefo was leading in the early stages, they collided at turn 4 at Red Bull Ring. And it did end up in a post-race penalty for Rosenkrantz. Alicon needs something similar to that. Before that, he needs to pass Schnabel. And of course, I will point out as well that we currently got the top 4 in the Pro Championship, all in the top 4. And also the top 3 in the Amateur Championship, all in the top 3 in the standings as well. So the Championship contenders are very much delivering tonight.
Oh, absolutely delivering. And then who's really delivering right now? The last couple laps, Rosenkrantz. He's cut the lead down to 1.2 seconds. It was 2 seconds just 2 laps ago. He's faster last lap, and he's faster lap before. So he's going to try and catch up. And there it is. That car's been rotating and motivating for 10 laps and needs about 34 left to go. But faster sector 1. So he's just showing a really good pace right now. So he's putting on the. You can even see it. LaFaro's got him in the mirror. The pressure is on. LaFaro cannot afford a mistake, but Rosenkrantz is pushing, but he just kind of slipped up a little bit there. Fastest sector 2 was LaFaro the last time around.
This is some high quality drive from these guys. They knew what was at stake going into this round. I'm sure they've been putting in a lot of laps of this Fuji circuit. Of course, no official series visiting this week at Fuji. We are using a circuit from last season. And the judges decided to vote for this. It was, well, they had the choice basically of 2 of Okayama, Red Bull Ring, and Fuji, and this was the highest voted one, so we put it as the season finale, as Ford has got past Winkler, and Winkler wasn't going to fight that one too much, so Ben Ford for Rom Racing up to 6th position in this group of cars, down from Schnabel to Winkler, 3rd down to 7th at the moment. Alacon's not getting past Schnabel at the moment, and they're continuing to lose time. Honestly, it looks like it's 2 different races. I mean, it's Lofari versus Rosenkrantz out in the lead, but obviously, Lofari doesn't need to beat Rosenkrantz. If Lofari is 2nd place behind Rosenkrantz, that's fine. Lofari would still win the championship by 6 points. And so, Lofari's surely got to drive this one patiently, and maybe Rosenkrantz needs to get tactical, like race, obviously, Lofari hard, and maybe even back him up. That might be what he has to resort to.
Yeah, that, you know, very well could be. LaFaro's got to run his race because he knows Alacon is, you know, in 4th place, 8.5 seconds back, and he's not quite catching up to Schnabel like I kind of thought he would. I mean, he's still right there, but he needs to get around him soon. But he's got that overtake on, so we'll see if he's going to be able to catch up to make a move. But the one thing I want to keep in mind, Sam, he's going to be out of boost soon. He's probably not going to have a lot of boost left, and he's making a big move. Contact made with Schnabel.
And Schnabel's completely got his right side of his car gone, and that is one of our 4 championship contenders out of contention. The 2 of them weren't fighting for a championship winning position. Schnabel just trying to keep himself in play. And I'm sure we'll get a replay of that to figure out what happened. And you have to think whether Marcus Alacon has escaped damage himself from that instant. Here was Alacon. He was chasing him down. It was a huge overspeed. He kept on moving to the inside. And honestly, I think Alacon swerved to the left.
Yeah, I think he just thought he was going to run out of space there. And you hate to see it for Schnabel. I mean, running so good. Was in a position to still, I mean, he's still going to get a good points finish, but you hate to see the end of a season come down to that. You see on board with Alacon from above the eyes view. Yeah, it's just very deceptive when you get to that wall and then the red there I mean, he still went over, but just you hate to see it for all drivers involved, including Alacon and Schnabel. The incidents happen.
Look at the way that car is crabbing. He had a lot of damage, did Alacon. So yeah, he comes into the pits. He lost another, what, 3 seconds to the race leaders due to that incident. He's now going to have to pit early as well, which isn't ideal as Grosseto moves back up into 3rd place. Ben Ford might get a podium from all of this. Grosseto is fighting very hard at the moment, but Pop isn't far behind. Oh, there's contact between the 2 of them, and Grosseto's out. Grosseto has crashed out, and Edward Pop takes 6th position overall, and crucially moves ahead of Fabio Grosseto, whose championship hopes are dashed. They were level on points going into this round. It was a winner-takes-all scenario. We knew Grosseto was taking risks by fighting this hard, and whilst that incident may not have been his fault, it has left his championship hopes in tatters.
Oh, you hate to see it, Sam. On board with Ben Ford here. Grosseto defending hard. They just had a big run, and you hate to see it, though. I mean, it doesn't help losing a championship when it's the other person, or even if it's your own fault. But man, what a bummer for him. Such a great season for Grosseto, but that's racing.
And now it's a case of as Winkler comes into the pits, I'd be interested to see Winkler's perspective of that one, because I think he just came across Grosseto, no time to react, and piled into him. And so 2 of our contenders out, and of course Alarcon having to take an early pit stop. Here it was from Winkler, and of course at this point he's thinking, oh, this is good, I'm going to gain a position out of this, but you can't do anything when a car spins like that. He takes the decision to get on the brakes, does Winkler, which is almost always the best thing to do, but of course it limits his steering ability, because once you're on the brakes you're locking up the tyres, and had no agency to turn to the left, and he'll get back out on the pits. He's behind Alarcon. He's yeah, down in 11th place.
Yeah, great job by Winkler to do the best that you can. I mean, that's the best best outcome you could have had with that situation for him. But he's already got his required pit stop. Same with Alarcon, and obviously Grosseto and Schnabel. So your top 9 still need to make their mandatory pit stop. But the one thing I want to point out, LaFaro, 1.2 seconds is the gap. Rosenkrantz, he gets faster, and he kind of sits back just a little bit. So it's been hovering around 1.2 seconds, and I think Rosenkrantz has the speed, but it's just the consistency that you need. It's tough when you have a driver in your view and you're chasing them down, and you have the tendency to overcook a couple corners. But with that being said, he's doing a great job at still maintaining the gap, and that's just huge, especially when the pit stops are going to come to get that one required pit stop, undercut or the overcut. I think the biggest thing we've said all season long, the same. It doesn't really matter when you pit. It's just how are those 2 laps before and how are those 2 laps after you come down the pit. So that's going to be the big, the most important part to this race. I think is those 4 or 5 laps around pit stops.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. That's when it's so easy to make mistakes, and if you are willing to put a bit more on the line, then you can get some reward in that scenario. But yeah, Rosenkrantz just hovering very threateningly behind LaFaro, and LaFaro will be terrified of Rosenkrantz. I mean, they literally collided on the last round, and LaFaro will know that the only thing that can really deny him this championship right now, at least the only thing that's out of his control, obviously he could just bin it into a wall, but like the most likely scenario is him colliding with Rosenkrantz, as we saw Grosseto collide before, and as we saw Schnabel collide as well with Alarcon earlier on. It's a collision which could be the problem, and so if he can just keep that gap till lap 44, and so he doesn't have to fight anyone, it would be wonderful for Giuseppe LaFaro from his perspective. Aberdeen, meanwhile, is up ahead of Bele. His comeback continues. He might pit and come out behind Alarcon and Winkler, Mike Aberdeen, when his pit stop is complete. So that's not necessarily a 6th position that he's going to keep, but it is still progress being made. And of course, Edward Pop still up in the lead in the amateurs. This man, Dean Bella, could still win the Portuguese. Cesar Cal is the one who could still win the amateur championship, but it's looking like a long shot with Pop driving one of his best races so far this season up in 5th place.
Yeah, but what we've seen so far, Sam, anything can happen. But you just got to try to stay on the track, and we look at, Lee Aberdeen had a spin earlier. He's recouped back up to 6th. He started 5th, so I mean he's back to where he was kind of running. And his last lap was just a skosh faster than Edward Pop. Both him, Edward, and Palich have run their fastest lap of the session on lap number 16. So they're all running quick right now, but they just got to try to maintain pace. They're in a good spot right now. I'd be happy with where they're at if I was in the driver's seat around the lap 17 mark, just to be able to see the guy in front of you. There's Edward Pop, in 5th, leading the AM portion, and he's leading the championship now because of the unfortunate circumstance with Grosseto. But really good job for Pop. He just has to keep it on the track. Him and LaFaro are in the same situation, kind of. Keep the car on the track, and if someone's coming to make a pass or race too hard, just take a deep breath and let him go. But that's Edward's style: calm, cool, and collective. The 3 C's, as my hockey coach from the my teenage years would say.
Yeah, he is very much someone of a calm demeanour. He's always very positive as well when he comes up for a chat is Edward, and of course one of the longest, one of the most experienced drivers when it comes to Apex Racing League, particularly when it comes to single-seater leagues, based on a lot of F3s in the past. And of course, a couple of years Super Formula. He's long overdue a championship. Is Edward Pop. I'm surprised he hasn't won one already, but I think he's finished second or third on a few occasions. This might just be the breaking of the duck for the German driver, apologies for the Romanian driver. Does still need to finish the race in a decent position. But good news for him, it seems like Grosseto has thrown in the towel. Grosseto not going back out on circuit. Lennart Schneider as well, not going back out on circuit. So it's just a case of Pop or Cabral at this point in the fight for the title. By the way, thanks to everyone who was tuning in. And if you've got any allegiances, or if you've got any information, any behind the scenes, or any thoughts at all, do let us know on the YouTube chat what your thoughts of the race are so far. Let us know who you are supporting, and of course any drivers who are listening back as well to the broadcast. Thank you very much for your continued support throughout the season. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a fantastic season, and we're not over yet. We still got a little bit to go, but great group of drivers. I mean, we got some really fast drivers. We have some other drivers that just may not have the speed, but they put on a good pace throughout the whole race, and it's very important. You see a lot of the same names in the chat, and this Apex Racing League with the Super Formula cars have just been a phenomenal series to call, and you know, the points battle coming down to the end was no joke. I mean, Palich is going to come down, make his pit stop. He was about 18, 19 seconds back, so I'll do my math in a jiffy.
I imagine he's going to come up just behind Marcus Alicon, I think, because he was around Alicon before the pit stops, wasn't he? This is a long pit lane. I think it might be like 32 seconds, honestly, pit lane loss. I mean, if he is going to come up behind Alicon, I think he was 31 seconds ahead of Alicon before, but he must come out behind, surely. Here comes Alicon. It looks like he's about to pass, but he has got a lot of the straight to go before he does move past. But there he goes, and he is going to be a few seconds ahead. 7 seconds stationary for Palich, and Palich will be just ahead of Winkler as well, splitting the difference between the two of them. So, well, by my calculations, I think that's 37 seconds lost. Am I right?
Yeah, I'd say about 37, 38 seconds. It reminds me a lot of the pit road at Phoenix, at the NASCAR track in Allendale, Arizona. I mean, it is a very long pit lane, and that's where you'd be thankful with these cars. You just hit that button, it says pit road limit. So you don't got to worry about speed once you get in there. We're talking about a lot of speed. LaFaro, fastest lap of the day. Gap's grown to 1.9 seconds.
It just seemed like it was coming down by like half a tenth each lap, and Rosenkrantz getting it down to about 1.1 seconds. And then, yeah, 4/10 of a second. He lost on that last lap to the Cesar esports driver. Mark Elliott might be up into 6th position in a moment here. Dean Baylor with a bit of a late move to the inside, but Elliott looks a lot faster. Last time around he was 4/10 of a second faster. Yeah, already these guys up a lot of places. Vela starts down in 12th place, Elliott starts down in 10th, and here they are in 6th and 7th right now.
Yeah, Mark Elliott, newcomer to the league, came in on the back half of the season, doing a great job. Like you said, he's in the 7th place, and just showing some good pace, and it's been an honor to watch him in here. But here's Carl Winkler making the pass on Palich there, the two core sim racing drivers. So they're just racing each other. Nice and clean, trying to make some pace, and they're still going to make some positions. You know, they are going to get around, most likely. I would say Aberdeen, up to Aberdeen, maybe Edward Pop, potentially. We'll see what happens there, but there's a little overcookage of the tires by Palich there. You know, like we were saying earlier, Sam, the 2 laps before and the 2 laps after you pit, probably the most important laps of the day.
Wayne Newman and Ryan Newman saying that they are Team Elliott. Good to see you guys in chat, and yeah, supporting the man currently running in 7th place overall. And Lennart's in chat as well. Race was fine. Until now, I was supporting myself. Unlucky Lennart. And of course, congratulations on the team's title, at least. And best of luck as well for the ARA Prototype Championship as well. So you signed up for that earlier on. I'm sure you're going to take to that very quickly. And we'll be fighting for more titles very soon. But yeah, unfortunate one for Lennart. He started the season off so strong. Dominated back at Aragon, I believe it was. But yeah, unfortunately, wasn't able to yeah, put it all together tonight with that incident.
Yeah. Thanks, Leonard, for being such a great competitor this season. We're really excited to see how you'll fare in that prototype series. We really appreciate you signing up for that, and we appreciate all the drivers who have signed up or are planning to sign up for that series. That's what's really cool, Sam. It's just a GTP only. Like, that's kind of cool. You don't have to worry about running up on a slow guy like me in a GT3 Porsche, you know, holding the whole field up. So it's a really cool little thing going on. Cool thing that Lee Aberdeen's got going on, trying to catch up the Edward Pop here. Going to try to make that overtake into turn number 1. Yep, going to make it nice and clean. Edward Pop. Calm, cool, collective, and lets him by. Good championship move there by Edward.
Yeah, no fight whatsoever was there. And Lee up to 4th position. Remember, Lee dropped back to the rear of the field earlier on. He spun whilst in, I think, 5th position earlier on in the race. And he's just been recovering ever since. It'll be a nice battle between Aberdeen and Alacon, I think, for that 4th position. Maybe Winkler might be in and around that range, but I think it'll mainly be Aberdeen and Alacon fighting for that. Maybe I'm wrong. No, actually, I think Alacon will be a bit ahead. But we'll see when they all come into this. Yes, Lennart saying, I don't know why I've signed up for the prototypes. But you signed up for a lot of series, Lennart. I'm pretty sure Lennart's maybe got the highest range of participation. Racing in F3, in Super Formula, in prototypes, and of course NASCAR as well. But I don't believe Lennart's ever done any GT racing. Porsche couple GT3. Don't think he's ever dabbled in that, so he still needs to take off that category of car in order to have the full range of Apex Racing League Series to his name. As here comes Edward Pop, pitting exactly on the halfway mark, lap 22 of 44. He's trying nothing fancy, and he should come out a bit behind Winkler and Palic, the 2 course sim racing drivers. Yeah,
the prototypes are a fun car. I've been driving the Acura quite a bit lately just because I have the Wayne Taylor Racing driver suit, and I sometimes wear it to simulate what it's like to be a real driver, but I'm much slower. But it's a great car, just like the Super Formula cars. You know, iRacing just released it, you know, right before this last season, so it's been a good car, and I've enjoyed driving it as well. As we take a look at Alacon here, remember, he has done the required pit stop. He's the first driver in the order that has made his pit stop sending P8. So expect him to, you know, move up the field once the pit stops are over. So I'd expect to see most of the drivers come soon. I know last week we had a lot of drivers pit before the halfway point, which is kind of a surprise to me. But look at that gap though. LaFaro, 2.5 seconds is the gap from him and Rosenkrantz. Maybe the tires are starting to wear off a little bit from Rosenkrantz, so you might see him come in and pit. But LaFaro's just been calm, cool, and collective. He's been, you know, just been leading a good race, running a good pace, and you know that's what you kind of have to do if you want to, you know, not only just, you know, win a championship, but just to win a race here. This has been a very competitive season. I know Rosenkrantz has been very fast the last 4 weeks, but you know, you have to run a picture-perfect race if you want a chance to even win.
Yeah, this would be some way for LaFaro to win the title, to go head-to-head with Rosenkrantz. Of course, started behind Rosenkrantz as well, and Chris made a mistake on lap 1. It was turn 2 where he ran a bit wide, and that was where the change of lead was made. But LaFaro's just had the measure ever since. Rosenkrantz is going to come into the pits. I thought he might push it on a little bit longer. I hope that's legal, because he wasn't and he's pushing the pit entry as well. But he was 2 tyres over the white line on pit entry. I hope that's not against the rules. Yeah, it was. It was definitely 2 tyres over. But sometimes iRacing enforce it and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, no black flag for whoa, that was a little squirrely coming in the Rosencrantz. He was pushing the limits there, Sam. Oh, Ole helped me hand on that one.
Okay, he's all right. He's just actually had the fastest pit stop of anyone, so it was actually the opposite of a penalty. He's lighting up the tyres on pit exit as well. He's going to come out in a little bit of traffic, but obviously these first couple of laps are compromised with the cold tyres anyway, so he's not going to exactly be held up behind Mark Elliott. And well, Lafaro tends to go longer than everyone else, right? Doesn't he? Because he likes to go longer and longer. I think for Lafaro, best strategy, right, is to pit in 2 laps time, because in 2 laps time, Rosencrantz tyres will be up to temperature, and you want to be able to cover him off with track position. But in fact, he's going to pit after just 1 lap, it seems, is Lafaro, and try to match Rosencrantz as much as possible.
Yeah, good pit entry there by Lafaro. Not as crazy as Rosencrantz was there, but so we have to keep in mind, you know, Rosencrantz 6.48 was his pit time, and it's very important you take tires here because it's required in the pit stop. So, and then here comes Ben Ford. Ben's not going to lead a lap, but Lafaro going to make that long way down to the end of pit road and makes a good stop. It's always important you got to hit the pit stop correctly, because I do it all the time where I screw up and you lose 1,000 seconds on pit road. But 6.48 for Lafaro as well, and he'll get out, you know, just quite a bit in front of him.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, I mean, Rosencrantz lost 0.8 of a second through the middle sector alone on that last lap. So he'll gain back a decent amount of time, but the gap is now up to 4 seconds. I think he'll gain back at least a second of that on this lap, and then he might gain another half second on the next lap. In fact, he's just cut it down by like half a second through 1 corner. So this is the cold tyres taking effect. Watching for Rosencrantz, he has got a bit of traffic to deal with. He's got Mark Elliott sat in front. So Lafaro is still leading the way. And remember, Lafaro doesn't need to win this race. Rosencrantz can win this race and Lafaro be second, and Lafaro will still win the title. So he should be all right. Here comes Rosencrantz. Can't lose any time here behind Mark Elliott. But I think the wise decision here is wait until the pit straight, but he's going to go for it straight away, and Elliott backs out of it, and Rosencrantz, to be fair, I was wrong there. He lost minimal time with that overtake. Yeah,
you know, Mark Elliott's, but he races with a lot of respect, you know, from the season, from the last half he's been here. Just, you know, those guys are fighting. He's still got to make his pit stop. So you like to see that when you have a driver who hasn't made the pit stop yet, and they just know, hey, let me let them by, because, I mean, we're really not racing each other for position, and that's sometimes a lost art, but great job by Mark to let Rosencrantz by, and a good lap by, you know, Rosencrantz, you know, 122.91, so he's got some good pace, but now the tires are starting to warm up for Lafaro, but the gap is 3.4 seconds, Sam. I mean, he's 3.4 seconds. I mean, what a job by Lafaro for his pit stop, for his 2 laps before and his 2 laps after. And I'm really curious to see what he's going to start to run, you know, with these next couple laps with the tires warming up. The only pit stop needs to go. Mark Elliott needs a pit and Kay Brown needs a pit. They both are, they're going to fall down the order. So that's going to move Alicon up to 3rd. And I'm really curious to see if Ben Ford will be able to start putting down some good laps. He's about 5 seconds back from Alicon, so he might be able to make some moves to catch back up. So we'll see what happens there. But Lafaro just sitting in a really good spot. Now you just hit the button on your wheel. It says Sunday Cruise, and that's all he's doing right now. Just a nice Sunday cruise as he tries to win this championship. Here comes Mark Elliott down into the pits.
Yeah, make sure that he nails this one. It's like an easier version of the old Zandvoort pit entry. I don't actually know what is the new Zandvoort pit entry. Is it just straight in, or is there still a chicane? I don't think I've ever come into the pits at Zandvoort. I've done races there, but I've never come into the pits. I just remember basically Peter Bayman messing up his pit entry at Zandvoort, so that one's a very tricky one, but this one's like a big version of that.
Yeah, it's I've only done Mustang races at the new Zandvoort, so I can't tell you.
Yeah,
I've either had the tow, or I finished the race. So I found pit road towing pretty easily, but not getting to it while driving down.
Don't practice pit entry unless you've got to do a pit stop, and you don't do a pit stop in most series. I wasn't here as well for the Zandvoort round of this series, so that's my excuse. You were, so you should remember what the pit entry is.
I know.
So
I'm sorry, guys. I just, when you do call so many races and work so many basketball and football games, they all kind of tend to combine into one, and it's harder to remember what goes on. So I do apologize for you, Sam, for not knowing that. But as a talented broadcaster like you, I thought you might have just known.
No, that involved me doing research and that. So apparently it's the same still. So you can still mess up the pit entry at Zandvoort. It is easy to do, but yeah, like I said, here it's a bit faster and I think overall a bit of an easier pit entry. Shout out, by the way, to our title sponsor for this series, Apex Racing Academy. I think we haven't mentioned it a whole lot, but Apex Racing Academy actually offers a free 1-month subscription to all the drivers in this series, and that 1-month subscription gave them access to setups and data packs and track guides for the Super Formula car, and that helps a lot of these guys get up to speed early on in the season, especially when it was a new car. So thanks to Apex Racing Academy for doing that, and also some drivers will be getting 1-year silver subscriptions for winning the title for this season, and some prizes as well for the team's champions and second and third as well in the drivers championship. So thanks to them for offering those prizes, and of course you can get yourself a subscription yourself. I think the bronze subscription is just £1 a week at this point. It is incredibly cheap, is the bronze subscription, or you can get the silver subscription, which gets you access to all the cars on Apex Racing Academy. That includes TCRs, GT3s, this Super Formula car, other single-seaters, and many other cars as well, covered by Apex Racing Academy. So go to apexracingac.com and get yourself a subscription, and thanks to them for supporting this series and supporting the channel.
I've been a long-time customer of the Apex Racing Academy. I get in the car, make sure I have the setup sync app going on, make sure it's running, and then it just downloads all the setups, and then I just get in the car and pick the setup I want, and I'm instantly a little bit faster. Most drivers are a lot faster, but when you can barely drive the car, Sam, you only get a little bit faster. But gets someone who's a capable driver, Sam, they're going to get a lot faster. It shows you videos on videos of driving the track on the website, so that's always helpful. The other big thing, it's always up. All the setups come out at I believe Sunday, if I remember right. So you're never waiting for your setup, so that's important. So you're able to get some good practice. But the other thing is it supports a good group of people, and that's always important. It's always support the people that support you. So Apex Racing Academy has been supporting this series all season long, so I'll support them right back. But thinking about fast times for a second, Rosenkrantz, first driver into the 121s, but the gap's still 3 seconds.
We need Rosenkrantz to be using his overtake right now. Don't leave it to the last lap, Chris, because he needs to get track position. I think it was Alarcon versus Lofaro at Silverstone earlier on this year, and I think Lofaro lost the race, but he did the right thing because he used his overtake early in order to get track position. At least if you get track position, you've got a chance. You can pull some shapes, you can hold up the opponent a bit, and you can cause some bother for them. It's better to do that than leave it to the last lap and just follow 2 seconds behind all the way to the finish. So I want to see that light flashing for Rosenkrantz. You can see it's still on for him, so he hasn't used any of it recently. Yeah, I want him to be using that overtake in order to get track position, and then, just have to defend against Lofaro in the closing stages when Lofaro's got the overtake himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing LaFaro has used it like just a little bit, so he's gonna have a lot left at the end. And is he gonna push it to try to get the fastest? Well, he just got the fastest lap of the session, but is he gonna try to push it to get an even faster lap of the session, or is he just gonna, just take it nice and easy? But I know these drivers, Sam, they want to get the fastest lap no matter what the circumstances. So we'll see what he's gonna be able to get. I want to give a big shout out though to Edward Pop, just running a good run there. He's second in the amateur overall, but Cabral has to pit, so it looks like he's gonna get the amateur win if he can continue his pace. But just a race of attrition. He's had a very good season, not only from on the amateur standpoint, but he always finishes around where the pros are at. So he's been gaining pace, and like you said, long time Apex Racing League driver. He's the kind of guy, if you had a team, he's the kind of guy you want on your team. Just a good, clean driver, and just maintains a good pace. You're not going to see him put himself in a bad situation very often. So a big major props to how well his season has gone, and he's got 12 laps left, and as long as he keeps on the track, he should be okay.
Yeah, he's some 7.5 seconds ahead of Dean Vella. And yeah, Cesar Cal out of the race at the moment. If it ended like this, I think if there was a red flag right now, I think Cabral would win the championship. If the results stay as they are, Cabral would win the championship. But obviously, as you identify, Cabral still needs to pit. So that will chop him down. But this is the sort of result that he needs. Unfortunately, we don't have any red flags. I don't know what the protocol would be if like all the iRacing servers crashed like now. I don't, as the admin for this, I don't know what I would do.
I know what it is. I know what the rules are. I win the championship if the server crashes.
You win the championship?
Yes. Duh. I mean, you're the admin.
Oh yeah.
I know the guy who programmed the scoring software, so we can make something happen. So
I can find some small print. I can plant some small print to say that. Oh yeah, there's a server crash. Avery wins the title.
Yes.
So yeah, so you've got your fingers crossed right now that happens.
I have my fingers crossed that it doesn't happen, because I don't want to win a championship by default. So iRacing, if you're watching, which I hope you are, please keep the servers running, because LaFaro is putting on a clinic so far. As you do see, though, Rosenkrantz's time was a little bit faster, but he went off track.
I think he may have used some attack on that last lap. Oh, well, LaFaro definitely did. Rosenkrantz didn't. That's really impressive for Rosenkrantz, because his first sector Rosenkrantz was insane. 22.37, I think it was. It's like, it was 0.2 faster than any other first sector that drivers have done today. So I don't know how Rosenkrantz did that. I assumed it was because he had the attack mode on, but he didn't. So yeah, he is rapid right now as the German.
Yeah, you know what's really cool, Sam? Where are we getting all this scoring and timing information from? You know where it's coming from?
I have no idea. Could you explain it for me?
It's the SDK Gaming app that we use for the graphics for our broadcast. And I tell you what, man, it makes being a commentator super easy. When the producer changes the camera, it changes the camera for me, so I can see exactly what you're calling or what we're supposed to call, and attempt to make a good commentary. So I mean, I tell you what, that software is incredible.
Yeah, thanks to SDK Gaming. These broadcasts would not be possible, and of course, not just our live time, but also our overlay. And you can use SDK Gaming yourself as a heads-up display for whilst you're driving, or a fuel calculator, and displays all the information that you need whilst you are driving. So thanks to SDK Gaming for helping us out on the channel. On that last lap, 0.3 faster for Giuseppe Lofari. Rosenkrantz seems to be struggling through the final sector, but it might actually just be a case that Rosenkrantz is running less downforce, because he seems really quick in the first sector, which is the second half of the pit straight and then the run from turn 1 to turn 2. But he's losing time in the final sector, which is all corners, is this section of the lap, really. So I wonder if he's just got a different setup there. Of course, if he has got better straight line speed, that'll make the car very raceable. So if he can get up to Lefaro, then he might be in with a good shot. But unfortunately, he's still that 3.2 seconds back, no matter how hard he tries. I'm
really impressed though with Cabral so far. Hasn't made his pit stop, but he's still running good times. I mean, 1:23.1. It's about a half a second slower than the drivers who have pitted behind him. So he's sitting at a really good pace. But oh my goodness! Oh wow! Slap me silly. That was a lap time there. Both drivers. Lafaro hit the fast lap, and then Rosenkrantz just said, "Hello, I'm here to play."
And Lafaro is using more overtake than Rosenkrantz. So Rosenkrantz might be very strong in the closing stages. And I'm not just doing an annoying commentator thing where I say, watch the final couple of laps because trust me guys, it's going to be good. I'm very honest as a commentator. There's been many occasions where I've said midway through a race, I don't think this one's going to be very interesting. It's, yeah, if this is as interesting as it's going to get, it's probably not going to be close at the finish. Genuinely, this might be close at the finish, because if Rosenkrantz has an extra lap of overtake, which he may well do, because he's simply not using the overtake, I don't think he's used any of the 200 seconds of it, that might give him like an extra 6-7 tenths on the penultimate lap, which is part of what he needs. He needs a bit more than 6 or 7 tenths, but that will go some of the way.
You know who's making some moves though, Sam? Ben Ford.
He's catching, isn't he?
He's catching Alicon. 7 tenths quicker the last time by. He's catching up to Alicon. And I tell you what, man, if Ben Ford can get his way onto the podium, that'd be a fantastic way for him to finish on.
Oh no, Avery seems to have disappeared. His connection is absolutely gone, unless it's my connection, but I think my connection's fine. Oh no. Oh, well, 7 laps from the end, and Avery's deceased. Absolutely gutting. Is he back?
We're back!
Oh man, I thought I was going to have to close the season without you.
I know you missed me.
We've come this far.
Oh, I just, I blinked, and then I opened my eyes, and I was back. All of a sudden, I can see the light of day. I am back. And Ben Ford is still moving up the field. He is. I tell you, man, quicker the last 2 laps around the Fuji. Let's see if Ford's going to make a move on Alicon.
And Aberdeen's got past Palach as well for 6th position. Aberdeen has been catching up to the core sim racing drivers at quite a rate over the past few laps. So I imagine we'll get a replay of it. And I think he was down into turn 1 where he was able to pull it off as well. Obviously Aberdeen after that spin earlier on, you wonder where he would have been. He would have probably been around these guys. But then Ford, you could say, where would Ford have been had he not messed up his qualifying? Where would Alicon be had he not messed up his qualifying and crashed with Schnabel as well? Yeah, lots of what's ifs. As we run on board now with Ben Ford, he'll try to get as close as he possibly can to Marcos Alicon, still 4 tenths of a second. But this straight just goes on and on and on and on. It's not long enough though. It would need to be the old layout in order for them to be close enough for a move hit. As they get on the brakes and still that gap. Just a few too many car lengths long.
Yeah, it's not quite long enough to take a nap on, Sam, but it's getting close there. We take a look at the replay with Aberdeen.
Oh, it's going to be a mistake.
Ooh. Alex goes wide.
I'd say that sets off Aberdeen to try to chase down Carl Winkler. That'll be as high as he gets, P5, unless these two collide, of course.
Yeah, Ford just putting on the pressure to Alicon, and this position for Alicon, if I do the mathematics, it don't really matter unless for some reason Rosenkrantz gets ahead of Lafaro.
That's so this battle will matter if Lofaro retires randomly or drops 50 seconds. Then
pulls an
Alicon
Avery
would
and loses
need
connection.
second place. Yeah. And then Alicon would need second place behind Rosencrantz to win the title. So in case something happens to Lofaro, it is worth Alicon holding on to this position so that he's there to pick up the pieces should Lofaro have a problem. But I think that's a long shot right now. The man looks very comfortable. Lennart's earlier on, I was saying how it might be close near the end, and then Lennart's saying nah, it won't be close. 3 seconds in 8 laps, not going to happen. So thanks, Lennart, for our audience attention.
Well, Rosencrantz just took 4/10 off of there in one
there
lap.
We go. Yeah,
so,
look at that, Lennart.
I mean, we're just hoping that they might catch up. But man, I tell you what, though, Ben Ford is putting on the pressure to Alicon. I mean, this is an important spot, and Ford, last lap, they're pretty much identical. I mean, when you're this close to each other and you don't move around too much, you're going to run around the same time. So, what's Ford do? I mean, he's going to have to wait. The one thing I want to point out, though, Sam, Alicon's used a lot of overtakes so far. Here comes the overtake from both the drivers. Spool it up and go. So kind of a waste of an overtake for Ford after he's seen that. So I wonder if he would just disengage it. But good job by Alicon to know. And Alicon's going to defend. Ford's going to move over. And he's going to go back to the left side for a good entry here.
Alicon with bad memories of these moves earlier on when he collided with Schnabel. And he's having to go defensive again into turn 2. Both of them are turned off the overtake, as that's a slide for Alicon. Before he tries to get underneath, he nearly went into the back of him. Just as he, of course, went into the back of Fabio Grassetto earlier on at that very same corner. This time he's got underneath again, he's got his nose ahead, and this is the move for 3rd position. The slightly shorter line, however, for Alicon has got him back alongside, and it's got him ahead as they head into the Dunlop chicane. Bit of contact between the two of them, and Alicon has got ahead. He's back up into 3rd place, but he's got another 4 laps to survive to keep this podium result.
The heat is on. It's on the street. Ben Ford, the heat is on, and he is trying to make another move. Big send on Alicon here. We'll see if it's going to stick. They're side by side. Come on, make some moves. Let's go.
None of them, or neither of them, have the overtake. They used it too recently. Alicon with better straight line speed, definitely. And that has enabled him to get back ahead, cover off the inside line. He's cautious not to swerve to the left like he did earlier on, which spelt in disaster. Doesn't have a faster pair to use, and it's Ford. Just missing his turning point there, maybe just messing up his braking because he lost a lot of time. And Alicon has a bit of relief in 3rd position. But these guys, wow, they lost each other a lot of time. They were 3 seconds slower than the leaders that last time round. They've still got 7 seconds to Carl Winkler, but yeah, if they do keep on battling like this, Winkler will not be far behind come the last lap.
Speaking of fast times, Rosencrantz just put down the fastest lap. The gap's down to 2.44 seconds. He needs to start getting some more pace, and he really needs Lofaro to lay off the right pedal a little bit to help him out. But, oh, he just broke it down again. Come on, he's coming. It's 2.5 seconds. He's got to make a lot of moves, though. I mean, he really needs to get a personal best, and he probably needs a world record time right now to help catch up to Lofaro, but at least he's making pace.
He's got the attack on now. I don't think he's going to turn it off for the rest of the race. This attack is on for the final 2.5 laps. And these guys' attack is on as well. Alicon, again defending. This is where Ford struggled with the turn in earlier on. He's got it much better this time. He's going to be on early on the power as well. And he's going to be able to dip underneath. Do either of them have the overtake on? No, they've both turned it off on the run to turn 2. Ford on the outside. He's always being squeezed out. There's contact between the two of them. And Ford and Alicon collide in the closing stages. They'll both drop down. Alicon will continue on. He can limp that car around to the finish, albeit he is missing body parts, and that should be easy for Carl Winkler to move up into third position. Ford, I think, will need to tow back to the pits and get his fast repair, and this is how it happened. This is the second time that Ford has collided at this corner, and, well, Alicon didn't leave him space, but you could question, should Ford have backed out of it once he was off the circuit?
Yeah, so that's the nice thing in my situation, Sam. I'm not the race control after the race, so that's an unfortunate circumstance for him. So he's into the wall. But man, I tell you what, though, fastest lap of the session, 1:21.48 for Rosenkrantz. The gap 1.7 seconds. This is a very important lap. Overtakes on. He's got 107 seconds to go. So I would think he would just leave it on for all the way, all the way until it runs out. That's what I'm. Yeah.
The Lothario on pause. See how much overtake he's got, if he's got it at all. Oh, Lothario's got more. So they're both in the same scenario, and Lothario should have it in the final sector. So this is even now for the two of them. Yeah, I don't think Rosenkrantz is going to have it. I think he's just going to run out of time because he's slower through this final sector. So the gap's now increasing. I think he'll get it down to about 1.5 seconds at the line, but that won't be enough. Aberdeen, meanwhile, he's up into 4th position. Aberdeen could get a podium here from last at one point, because Alicon is limping round. He might be caught by Palach as well by the end of the race. There he is. He's very, very slow, is Alicon. And yeah, Aberdeen could catch up to Winkler. The gap 1 second between 3rd and 4th going onto this final lap. Winkler only with 1 podium to his name so far. Aberdeen with only 1 podium to his name so far. So it's quite a big deal between these two.
Yeah, Rosenkrantz just set the fastest lap the last time around. But Lothario just running a picture-perfect race. Still some chances for him to make a little mistake, but man, when the pressure was on, Lothario ran well. I mean, yes, Rosenkrantz is coming, and major props to Chris Rosenkrantz for trying everything he could to catch up to him. It's 1.1 seconds. I don't think there's enough gap, or enough of a shot for him, but major props to Rosenkrantz for not giving up.
Yeah, and it's been a terrific season between the two of them. They're going to end up the top 2 in the championship hunt. But Giuseppe Lothario came into this round knowing that a win would guarantee him the championship. And it's going to be back-to-back wins to finish off the season, and it will be enough points for Giuseppe Lothario on his Apex Racing League debut to win the Apex Racing Academy Super Formula. He is the pro champion for Movano Sim Racing Team. Rosenkrantz in 2nd place, Winkler will finish in 3rd, but we've still got our amateur champion to crown as well. Edward Pop is going around the final few corners. Palach is overtaking Alicon ahead. Pop won't catch up to that one, but the Romanian driver who has finished the bridesmaid on many occasions in Apex Racing League in the past. He's changed to the Super Formula for this season, and he has absolutely delivered. Whilst Fabio Grassetto perhaps had the better qualifying performances through the season, Pop has been relentless in his consistency. And knowing that all he needed to do was beat Grassetto tonight, he has done that. And with a 7th place overall, Edward Pop for Force International Racing Team becomes your amateur champion in Apex Racing Academy Super Formula.
Wave your hats and salute to the champions, Lothario and Edward Pop. Man, what a battle these guys had all season long. Congrats to everyone for coming out and putting on a whale of an effort. There it is, Edward Pop lighting it up, and same with everybody else. It's always good to celebrate at the end of a season that you made it. I know one of with the group I ran with for many years, we would do a demo derby at the end of the season to celebrate the end. So what a phenomenal job by the drivers to come out with a really fantastic race at Fuji.
Yeah, and it was a race full of drama as well. Undoubtedly the Grassetto moment, I think the most significant. Bit of a shame that Grassetto had that issue, because I think Pop was actually going to run him very close anyway. Their pace was very evenly matched. There was only a few seconds between the two of them. And so I think we could have had a wheel-to-wheel battle between the two of them to decide the title. But unfortunately, Grassetto colliding with Ford, and that dropped him out of contention there. But there is the final results. Giuseppe Lofaro winning out 1.2 seconds clear of Chris Rosenkrantz. Carl Winkler finishing in 3rd position, just his 2nd podium of the season, but it was a strong qualifying as well for Winkler. And so he really did have the pace tonight. Lee Aberdeen, after a spin earlier on, doing really well to recover back up to 4th. Then it was Make Paluch in 5th place, the ailing Marcos Alicon in 6th, who led the championship through most of the season. It was him and Schnabel who really led the championship on the most part, but they ended up being usurped by Lofaro in the last couple of rounds. Pop gets the points that he needed for the amateur title. Dean Vella was in 8th place. There was Mark Elliott, Cesar Cabral, Ben Ford after a late crash in 11th place, and of course Grassetto and Schnabel retiring in 12th and 13th. We now have a chance to have a chat with a couple of our drivers. And, well, first up, we will drag up Giuseppe Lofaro, who joins us now. Giuseppe, congratulations, man. That is, as I think you are well aware, the championship for yourself. You came into this round needing a race win to confirm the title, and you've done it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a tough race because there was Rosenkrantz behind who had a similar pace. And so I had to push enough to don't make a mistake, but also to stay in front of Rosenkrantz, obviously. Also, if I ended up 2nd with Rosenkrantz first, I would have won the championship anyway, but I wanted to win it in style. So yeah, I wanted to win, and I pushed enough to stay on top and win the championship. And I think I've been very fast in the last few rounds, especially in the last 2, and today for sure. I mean, I practiced a lot, and also I tried to change a little bit the setup, especially on the rear, because in the last sector the car was really twitchy, so I changed it a little bit. And then obviously I changed completely my drive. I tried to be a little bit careful with the tire, especially with the rear tires. So I think today the performance is a mix of setup knowledge for sure, but also driving technique that I applied. I wanted to thank Marco Gabriele Nesi that helped me in my first part of my career here in iRacing to understand the basic concept and then some techniques. And so I wanted to thank him to basically believe in me, and I'm happy that I paid him with this championship. And obviously I wanted to thank everybody that believed in me. First of all, my grandma, ciao nonna, that watch all my races. My girlfriend, for sure, that is watching. And obviously all the Mivano team that helped me, especially Riccardo Geroli, and also Loic, that throughout the season I watched his setup, and basically in the first half of the season I tried to change something, but I wasn't able to gain performance, but I still tried to change something in the car just to understand how the car reacts. And so in the final races I was able to understand the setup, and so I was able to find some last bit of time that for sure in the last 2 races helped me a lot. And so yeah, special thanks to the Mivano team. And also I wanted to thank my parents that support me in every way possible, especially my dad that helped me a lot with the hardware stuff. And yeah, I mean, nothing could have been possible without them. also I'm extremely happy because obviously I've never had the possibility to race in real life with a kart, and so for a person which is a normal person who isn't rich, sim racing is the only possibility to race, and I'm happy because I was able to beat also driver in real life. So I mean I'm extremely happy, grateful for the people that helped me, and I think I've spoken a lot today. But I think
No. You've won the title, so you've absolutely got every right, and everyone who you're mentioning, I think, absolutely deserves some praise from yourself as they've helped you to this position. What lies next for you? I mean, are you going to continue pursuing the Super Formula in future? I mean, what are you going to be racing with Movano? I mean, what's coming up in 2024 for yourself?
I'll decide. I'm still thinking about it, but for sure I know that I'm fast with the Super Formula, so let's see if I will continue with this car or I'll change something different. And I wanted also to thank Alberto Gabbiani. That is one of the few persons that I had the occasion to know in real life, and for many reasons that I don't wanna spoke now, is probably one of the person that really helped me in my career, and he also a very good person, and that's it.
Well, thank you for coming up and having a chat, Giuseppe. Well done on the title. You really do deserve it across the 11 rounds. And we hope to see you back on the channel, whether it's in Super Formulas or whether it's the other cars. It's been fantastic to watch you, and hope to see you back soon.
Thank you. Bye bye. Good night, guys, and thank you for the broadcast and the organization.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe. Giuseppe Lofaro, your pro title winner this season. Avery, who are you going to have a chat with?
Oh, we're gonna have a chat with the champion. Pop the champagne, Edward Pop. You are an Apex Racing League champion. How's that sound?
Thank you so much, guys. It's been such a long time coming. I'm so glad that it finally happened. It was a really great championship, really great format. Played a bit to my strengths because you might have noticed I'm not maybe as quick as other guys yet, but I tend to be pretty consistent, and that's what won me this race tonight and what won me the championship in the end. So I really enjoyed the format. I really enjoyed the longer races. I'm super happy to have won it finally, and at one of my favorite tracks as well. It's a really great feeling.
I said in the broadcast earlier, you had the 3 C's: calm, cool, and collective, and we can add a 4th C: consistent. And that's one thing we've noticed so far this season is the consistency that you have. When things were tough, you never gave up. When you knew someone was faster, you just let them go. Or if you knew you were faster, you weren't too aggressive to make it move. And that is a huge factor into winning a championship. You've been a staple in this Apex Racing League. Just bring us through your mindset of racing the way you do.
Well, it's exactly as you said. I really have to think through my races. Having raw pace is great, and it's a great advantage to have that. But I think most importantly, especially over an entire championship, is to really think through your races, really think through your strategy, really pick and choose your battles. Even tonight, at the start, I let a couple guys go because my fight was only with Grassetto. No one else. I just needed to finish ahead of him, and he was already starting in front of me. So my goal for the race was just to stay within 5 seconds of him, and it would have been a hard thing to do. But luckily for me, he chose to fight with a couple of guys that he had really nothing to gain by finishing ahead of him, and that's what cost him the race and the championship in the end. So I wasn't as fast as him, not tonight, not over most of the races, but I think it really shows that pace alone doesn't win championships, but consistency and being sort of clinical with how you approach races. That's the most important thing, I think.
Right, you're very close on speed there. There was a chance that you might have been able to run him down, but at the end of the day, you're still able to bring home the championship. I can't think of a better way to end 2023 out, but 2024 is right around the corner. What are some of your plans for the beginning of 2024?
Well, I'm gonna do some endurance racing throughout this next season. I've really gotten used to driving longer races, and it's been a lot of fun to to keep the tires alive and just maintain a similar pace of an entire race. So my racing goals really are to join a couple of special events. Finally, I've finally found a team that I can do that with, and I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm super glad you found a team. It's always important to find like-minded people to race with. But so, who are some of those people like to give a shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, so one of them is actually Cesar Cal. I've raced against him for a couple of seasons now in Apex leagues. And it's always been very fun and very respectful. I think he's one of the most underrated drivers in this league this season. I was a bit disappointed when I found out that he got demoted from the pros to the ANS, because I knew how fast he was and I knew he was gonna be up there and fight me for every point all the way to the finish. He's had a couple of very unlucky races in Austria and in Spain. Otherwise, he would have been fighting for this championship all the way to the final race. So big shout out to him. He's a super fast guy, a super nice guy as well, and I'm looking forward to racing with him and against him in the future.
Absolutely, it's always good to have those guys to race against and race with. So, Edward Pop, 2023 Super Formula Apex Racing League champion. Congratulations, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Thanks so much, Avery. I'm looking forward to it.
Next up, let's drag in Carl Winkler into the comms box. Carl, congratulations, man. Nice results tonight, getting that second podium of the season. Nice way to bookend the season.
Yeah, pretty happy with it. I tried to look into the standings, who is competing for the championship. I think it was like 4 guys in the end competing for it, and I was like, starting P3, okay, I will just keep my nose out of everything, try to not go wheel to wheel with anyone, to not interrupt the title decider. I think the only car I couldn't avoid was Grassetto, if I'm not mistaken, and he took my front wing as well, so I was forced to pit early, and then just kept on going, doing laps. Ending P3 is a bit lucky because of all the accidents in front of me. Pace-wise, it wouldn't have been possible. But I think the most important thing today is that we have a deserved championship winner with Giuseppe, so congratulations to him. Just heard his interview, nice guy as well. And I think you guys had fun as well.
Yeah, it was throughout the season. It was a lot of fun for us. How have you found the Super Formula car? I mean, when you signed up for the series, no one really knew much about it, really, because we launched the series so quick. How have you found the last 11 rounds? Have you enjoyed tackling this car compared to the GT3s that you're more used to?
Yeah, it is a complete different challenge compared to GT3 as well. I'm driving more smooth, I would say. Sometimes you have to be more aggressive in the Super Formula. It is fun to drive, so I don't regret having participated. But job-wise, I'm not able to do a lot of laps, so usually I just join the server on race day, do a few laps and free practice, and then just jump in and try to do clean races. The thing with the open wheelers in the Apex Racing Leagues is usually that you have you can go side by side, but like GT3 cars, a small contact is usually not that bad. But in that car, you get a small contact, and like your whole tire, rear wing, everything is flying away. So I'm not really enjoying having that much accidents per race. But in terms of driving, the car was fine.
And what about 2024? What series are you guys at Core looking to participate in yourself, Make and the others?
Well, I have to decide job-wise, but one thing is for sure, I will be there in some way and in some place. So you don't get rid of me, guys.
We've been
He's the kind of guy we
disappointed.
don't want to get rid of. We enjoy having you around.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, yourself and Make in particular. I mean, I think you even took part in like Formula Renault as well, didn't you? When we did a season
Yeah, I did.
of that. So yeah, no, you are. We super appreciate your support every season, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you back in whatever championship. Is there anyone you'd like to give shouts out to?
I think the only shout out today is for Giuseppe because he's a championship winner. I think a small shout out also to Edward. I think he won the AMP championship if I'm not mistaken. So that's the two guys for today, and they deserve all the spotlight.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Carl, and see you back very soon.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Have a happy New Year and a happy Christmas.
Yep, same to you.
Thanks.
Carl Winkler, third place finisher tonight, ends up the season in 7th place as well. Avery, I think we've got 2 more interviews to go. Who are you going to nab?
I'm going to take Mr. Cabral. Cesar, congrats on a great season. It's always been a pleasure watching you. I think, Edward made a good comment. You're a very underrated driver. You're so talented and just had some bad luck, and you always show a lot of speed. Can you just take us through how the season went for you? I know we had a couple rough races, but you had some really good races too.
Yeah, the full season itself, the final result were good. So we finished P3. But the disappointment that because I were leading the championship for so long, 7 rounds, yes, and yeah, the last rounds I had some unlucky moments, and yeah, the one punishment in the last race that I wasn't expecting, but yeah, it's in the rules, so I cannot complain about it. It was my mistake, my misunderstanding, and yeah, this was really disappointing. But yeah, it's I like to be part of this grid. The drivers were in so high level. I had to push into the limit, explore strategies at the beginning of the season. I didn't know so much how I could explore the car. Everyone was learning the car, some better, some more, some less, and I were really struggle to understand how is dynamic of those long races. And then when I realized that I could manage my tires really well, I guess I felt more confident. So what I have to say, in general, the whole season was a big learning, and also for to work more my pace and my strategy for full season. So I just have to say thank you for you guys, and yeah, I'm looking for the next season.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I made a point in the broadcast how you're really good at managing your tires. But with 2023 concluding, we talked with Edward. He said you guys are going to try to do some endurance races. Can you tell us a little bit about your 2024 plans?
Yeah, 24. I invite Edward to race with me some endurance races. I hope we can do some races here in Apex GTP. But January I'm in vacation, so from February. And yeah, I'm looking forward for more championships with this car, and yeah, focus in prototypes, endurance, and this formula, because this car is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great. And we're glad you were here for us all season. But before we let you go, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just want to say one more time, thanks for Apex for this wonderful championship. Congrats for Edward for the championship too. He deserved this so much. Well done, buddy. And yeah, just want to say, don't forget to follow the Racing 2 esports in Instagram. And yeah, guys, see you soon. And let's push harder.
Awesome. We'll see you around next time. Once again, pleasure watching you race this season.
Thanks for having me.
So Cesar Cal there, third place in the Amateur Championship in the end, and we will have a quick chat with Lennart Schnabel as well, who joins us now. Lennart, we've pretty much already interviewed you through the medium of the YouTube chat, but I don't think we specifically addressed the incident. Talk us through your race-ending clash with Marcos.
Well, first of all, race until that point was a bit meh, I would say. Pace wasn't really there. I had no time to practice, and not really the motivation to practice for whatever reason. And so I was just expecting like top 5, and me and Grosseto came together 2 or 3 laps earlier, and I had a slight bit of damage, but nothing too dramatic. And then when I saw Alicon closing in, I started moving to the right, closing the door. I thought there was no gap left, but apparently Alicon saw one. Unfortunately, he thought I was going to the left again after he was on my right. That wasn't the case. I was just, to be honest, I would try to run him a little bit short on road. But yeah, it happens. He apologized. I'm accepting that, obviously, and I mean, stuff like that happens, especially at Fuji. We saw it over and over again in the F3 as well. I think I can remember one incident where a car flipped multiple times on the straights due to similar circumstances, but it is what it is. Still finished P4 in the championship, which is okay-ish, I would say, for getting only 1 win in the season. But we secured team championship, and that's a lot more valuable for the team. Yeah.
Absolutely. It was Raman Perry, by the way, you crashed in F3. I remember that one well. I think that was our first studio broadcast, and yeah, that was a big clash on that occasion. And yeah, you absolutely raised a good point that you guys managed to take the team's championship. Yeah, what are your and Lee's plans for the upcoming season? Because obviously we've seen you in various cars, like I said, over on NASCAR, and you pointed out that you raced in GT3 earlier on this season, but we only know Lee in this series. Are you guys mainly focusing on single seaters at the moment, or is anything else taking up your fantasy at the moment on iRacing?
Well, I'm moving out from home in a couple of weeks, and I don't know how it goes from there on, because I'm gonna start going to university, and I try to make the prototype championship possible on my end, but I probably won't spend that much time on it, but just to get the head free from school and stuff. And we talked about doing prototypes earlier, or 2 weeks ago. I think it was at Barcelona, where we're like, what are we gonna do afterwards? Then the prototype fell a couple times in that little meeting, and yeah, I actually don't know what Lee's up to and what Kev is up to, but we're definitely gonna stay in high downforce cars. I don't think there's too much else which is interesting for us. Obviously, when the F3 season is coming back, I don't know when, but if it's coming back, you can count on us. But the current plans are a bit unclear.
Well, I'm sure we'll see you back in some capacity. What were you studying at university?
I'm going to a smaller city. It's called Karlsruhe. Obviously, you don't know that,
No
but it's in the south of Germany. I'm starting to do industrial economics. Yeah.
That's a big
Sound.
one.
I did 1/3 of my course was economics, so if you ever need any tips, you need to copy my homework or anything,
I'll let you know.
just let me know. And I mean, I'm sure it's easy, innit? So the fact that it's all in German might be a slight issue, but you know, apart from that, I think I'll be sorted. Well, thank you for having a chat with us, Lennart, and you know, taking part in this season and making so much entertainment for us as normal. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to our whole team, to the whole Alcontech squad. Was a pleasure to drive with y'all, and also to everyone who was fighting with me for the championship. Alacon, Lafaro, Rosenkrantz, and the other people. Thank you for that great season. I'm a bit bummed that the participation dropped at the end, but I think overall it was a great season with all those people, and thank you for the series from your side as well. Yeah, thank you for the streams. They were always a blast to watch and really interesting. And yeah, I'm looking forward for next season to watch them back again, because that's always a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the kind words, Lennart. Hope the move goes successfully, and hopefully that we see you back very soon.
Thank you.
Lennart Schneebel there, in the end, finishing the season in 4th place in the championship after a race win earlier on in the season and several other strong results. Well, Avery, that's all the interviews completed for us. Fun season this. I've really enjoyed it. I'm a big Formula 1 fan, and this is pretty much as close as we'll get to Formula 1 when it comes to broadcasting events on iRacing. So I've had an absolute ball with it, and I'm just really glad that it was compelling right until the final lap of the season in both the Pro and the championships.
Yeah, super compelling at the end. I mean, tied going in with the AMs, within a point or two going in for the Pros, and you had 4 drivers in the Pros that had a chance to win. And then we got to hear your beautiful voice, which is always a pleasure. So that was an honor. But the one thing I want to take away from this, from being my first Apex Racing League, where I did the whole season, how well put together the league is, how competitive it is, and just honestly, you don't see something this put together too often. So it's a big shout out to like you guys and everybody with the Apex Racing League to put together a place where these guys can race at a competitive level, whether you're a pro or an AM, and have a chance to win a championship. That means something. And that's it's a big shout out. You could hear it in Edward's voice, the relief that he had when he found out he was a Apex Racing League champion. Whether it was a pro or an AM, it's still a championship. So congrats to him. Congrats to Lafaro and Alcontech for the team championship. But congrats to all the drivers who were here week in and week out and put on a heck of an effort to put on a show for not only you, Samuli, and I to enjoy, but for all the people at Apex Racing TV to watch a fantastic race. So big shout out to all the drivers.
Definitely, yeah, they put on a brilliant performance for all 11 rounds. It's been a long season this, but we have genuinely very much enjoyed it. Hopefully you have enjoyed it as well. Whether you've just been tuning in, thank you for your attendance, and if you've been driving as well, thank you for making it so entertaining for us to watch. Of course, thanks to VRS, thanks to SDK Gaming, thanks to Apex Racing Academy for all sponsoring this series and helping us out on the channel. And of course, do check out the Apex Racing TV and Apex Racing League social media platforms on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do leave a like on this video and also subscribe to the channel as well to catch more streams coming up in the next few days. Tomorrow we'll have Apex Racing League GT3 trophy. So Apex Racing League very much staying on the channel all the way for the next few weeks. But for the final time then, for myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, for Avery McDonald, and for Samuli Kumo, we can finally say that our amateur champion for the season is Edward Pop, our pro champion is Giuseppe Lofaro, and our team's champions are Alcontech NHR. Hope to see you back very soon. Thank you for tuning in, and that's all from us in the Apex Racing Academy Super Formula.